Hello, students. At 8 o'clock a.m. on the 15th of June, 2003, the vessel Liaoyu 816 started its engines preparing to depart. While leaving the waters near Langzhou, Shekou, Shenzhen, Guangdong, an explosion suddenly occurred in the engine room. This accident resulted in 2 deaths and 4 severe injuries. It caused severe damage to the engine room, bridge, corridor, radio room, crew cabins, and other areas of the Liaoyu 816. The economic loss was approximately 10 million yuan. According to the sampling and inspection of the ship's fuel by the Shenzhen Academy of Metrology and Quality Inspection, the flash point of the fuel used by the Liaoyu 816 was only 23 degrees Celsius, which is lower than the standard for number 0 diesel fuel, which should be greater than or equal to 55 degrees Celsius. From this, we see that oil product quality must meet the required standards. So what is the flash point mentioned in the case? Why can a low flash point cause an explosion? Today, we will learn about the related knowledge of flash point. Flash point is a safety indicator for the storage, transportation, and use of flammable liquids. It is also an indicator of the volatility of flammable liquids. Flammable liquids with a low flash point have high volatility, are easy to ignite, and have poor safety. Based on flash point being a safety indicator for fuels, the hazard level of flammable liquids can be classified according to their flash point. From the table, we can see that ether has the lowest flash point. Each liquid has different volatility, hence their flash points are also different. This is an important indicator we need to pay attention to during storage. Flash point below 45 degrees petroleum products are considered flammable, such as gasoline and kerosene. Flammables are further divided into Class I and Class II flammables. Here we stipulate liquids with a flash point below 28.1 degrees Celsius are Class I flammables, extremely easy to burn and volatilize, such as gasoline. Liquids with a flash point between 28.1 degrees Celsius and 45 degrees Celsius are Class II flammables, easy to burn and volatilize, such as kerosene and turpentine. Flash point above 45 degrees. These are combustibles such as diesel fuel and lubricating oil. At their flash point, the vapor concentration of kerosene, diesel, and lubricating oil reaches the lower explosive limit of that product. Gasoline is different. In a sealed container at room temperature, its vapor concentration already exceeds its upper explosive limit and won't flash due to lack of air. Therefore, it is necessary to lower the temperature of gasoline to reduce its vapor pressure until the mixture can flash. Although the flash point of gasoline corresponds to the temperature reaching the upper explosive limit because crude oil has a very low flash point, it is listed like gasoline as a Class I combustible. So, specifically, what is flash point? How do you understand the definition of flash point in the context of oil safety? When sufficient vapor is produced on the oil surface mixes with air to form a flammable gas and encounters an ignition source, causing a flash ignition phenomenon, it is called flash ignition. The flash point then is the lowest temperature at which the liquid surface can produce flash ignition when the oil is heated under specified test conditions. The lighter the oil, the lower its flash point, because the vapor concentration above the oil surface and the lower explosive limit are related to conditions other than oil temperature, such as heating temperature, evaporation rate, size of evaporation space, pressure, etc. The flash point of petroleum products is closely related to the testing instrument and operating method, making it a highly conditional indicator. Thus, from the above, we can understand that measuring flash point is very important. Firstly, flash point is a safety indicator for fuels. The hazard level of flammable liquids is classified based on their flash point. Secondly, the flash point can indicate whether an oil product is light or heavy. It can determine if heavy oil has been mixed with light oil. If a small amount of low boiling point oil is mixed into heavy oil, its flash point will drop significantly. Therefore, it can assess the fire hazard risk of the oil product for lubricating oils. Those with high volatility tend to evaporate during operation. Severe loss can even increase the lubricant's viscosity, affecting its performance. During oil use, if the flash point of engine oil decreases significantly, it indicates the oil has been diluted by fuel and the engine should be inspected and the oil changed. A higher flash point can reduce fuel evaporation loss, prevent vapor lock in the fuel system, and avoid interruption of fuel supply. Oil products have different properties considering the usage process and working working environment of each oil product. Along with highly volatile gasoline and diesel and less volatile lubricating oil, is our standard for measuring flash point the same? The methods for determining the flash point of petroleum products can be divided into open cup and closed cup methods. Usually, highly volatile light petroleum products are mostly measured using the closed cup method. The other is the open cup method, where oil evaporation is measured in an open container. It is generally used for heavy oils or lubricating oils. Determined by their nature and conditions of use, the vapor formed after the product is heated continuously diffuses into the surrounding air, resulting in a higher measured flash point for most lubricating oils and heavy oils, especially when used in non-sealed machinery or at lower temperatures. Even if there is a small amount of light blend, it will evaporate during use and not pose a fire or explosion risk. So are flash point and fire point the same by definition? We know the flash point is the point of instantaneous flash, meaning it flashes and extinguishes immediately. That is to say, the vapor accumulated on the oil surface is insufficient to support continued combustion. The fire point is different. It is the temperature at which the oil can sustain combustion. So what is the duration? We stipulate a duration of no less than 5 seconds. That is, after the flash point temperature, we continue heating the oil. The lowest temperature at which it can burn for no less than 5 seconds is the fire point. Besides flash point and fire point, we also need to understand another concept: autoignition point. What is autoignition point? Let's learn the concept of autoignition point. Measuring flash point and fire point requires an external ignition source. If the oil is heated to a certain temperature, isolated from air and then exposed to air, it can ignite spontaneously without an external flame. This is autoignition of the oil. The minimum oil temperature at which autoignition occurs is called the autoignition point. The figure on the right shows the flash points and fire points of different oil products. Different oil fractions have different flash points and fire points. Flash point and fire point are related to the volatility of the oil product. Autoignition point is related to the oxidizability of the oil product. Light fractions have small molecules, low boiling points, and are easy to evaporate, so the lighter the fraction, the lower its flash point and fire point. Lighter fractions are harder to oxidize. Heavier fractions are easier to oxidize. Therefore, the autoignition point of light fractions is higher than that of heavy fractions. Alkanes oxidize more easily than aromatic hydrocarbons, so the autoignition point of alkanes is lower than that of aromatics. Naphthanases fall between the two. Oils containing more alkanes have a lower autoignition point. Oils containing more aromatics have a higher autoignition point. Students, please consider the important significance of flash point control in safe production. The content we covered in this lesson includes the definition of oil flash point, the significance of measuring oil flash point, the methods for measuring oil flash point, and the definitions of fire point and autoignition point. That is all for this lesson. Goodbye, students.